Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Summers, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
And hello, talking tennis community. We have a good one in store for you. We've got Casper Ruud versus Nuno Borges, and I could not be more excited to be joining y'all for this. Hoping that we're going to be active in the chat, get a little wacky with it, a little bit weird. This is not your grandfather's tennis commentary. We're modern folks. We're going to have a little bit of fun. The players are warming up right now. We will be joined by Tom shortly. Very much looking forward to sharing the broadcast with him. Look, we got a fun one. It's a 500 record for both of them against each other. I think that the conventional wisdom is certainly that Casper Ruud is going to win this. The producer correctly points out that I'm so hip that I did have a MySpace account. I am, however, off all social media except for Talking Tennis, which is the only one worth hanging on to. That being said, feel free to like, follow, subscribe on Instagram, Twitter, and any other number of Talking Tennis vehicles. You won't see me there, though, only here, and it's a pleasure. We're going to get into their kits as we get closer to the start of the match. And Borges, I like that ensemble. It's very cool colors, light, seasonally appropriate. And dare I say, I like that Casper Ruud is taking a bit of a risk with his outfit, a little bit of a creative pattern. And for those of you that watch, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, you know, as us fellas enter middle age, the more creative the pattern, the more that we're going to like it. So we should be underway within 90 seconds or so. Borges has won the serve and won the toss and elected to serve. We are in Canada, where I've just returned from. By the way, the producer points this out. I'll point it out again. We are open to sponsors. Head, Yonex, that would be cool. But honestly, if you're a dentist and you like what we're doing and you get some disposable income, probably would take that too. I'd wear a hat that says best dentist ever, sponsor of Talking Tennis, without shame. And we are underway in Canada, in Toronto, for the fellas. Borges makes his second serve. Nice return by Ruud. Oh, and a hot start for the Portuguese player. I feel like it's important to disclose bias, right? Like, let's be honest. Every single person doing commentary ever has them, and they'll pretend like they don't, or some of them will, but like they're not fooling anybody. I have a real soft spot for Nuno Borges. And I'll say this every time I'm commentating one of his matches. He's someone who, to me, has maximized his physical gifts. He is a player who leaves it all on the court, and I just really respect his tennis approach. He doesn't have the biggest weapons. You know, if you're watching the top 50 players in the world warm up, you're not going to be like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, it's Nuno Borges. That's just not his game. He's a grinder. He's steady. He's got a good head on his shoulders. All of these are things that I think you could probably say for Casper Ruud as well. The difference is Casper Ruud does basically everything on a tennis court a little bit better than Nuno Borges. It has not been the best season for him. He's not reached his previous heights. But this is the start of hard court season. Maybe he will be getting things back on track, and this will be one of the moments that it began. The producer asked who I would compare my game to. I will tell you, anytime I do a successful serve and volley, I will whisper to myself, Johnny McEnroe. Because I do, of course, like most American tennis players love John McEnroe. My game is nothing like his. Just anytime I do a good serve and volley, it feels like an appropriate thing to say. Borges, by the way, is serving here at 40-15 for the first game, and he sails that first serve by about 5 feet. Let's see what he does with the second. And he doesn't make it. 40-30. Another game point. I would like to think of myself as a right-handed, friendlier Corentin Moutet, one of my favorite players on the tour, just because he gets a little wacky with it, a little weird. I think, honestly, though, basically anybody who came up playing in the era I did, their game is like a terrible Andy Roddick. You know, big flat serve, kick serve, big forehand, choke of a backhand. And that's me. It's also a lot of rec players in the States in general. As Borges gets the hold here. That's a big old towel for Casper Ruud. I don't know if y'all know this for folks watching abroad. We're in a bit of a heat wave here in the States. Can't really explain why, but it feels hotter this summer than it ever has before. Hopefully just a fluke, and there's no reason behind that. Tom is en route, so you will not have to listen to me drone on alone pretty soon. We'll have a fun partner in the broadcast booth. I gotta say, I normally am a bit of a hater when it comes to the kits. I like what both these guys are rocking. I also think anybody that can pull off the headband, like the tied headband, the way that Ruud does, I'm like a little jealous. I'm wearing a hat because I don't have a hairline like that, as most people do not. But he does pull it off. God, Borges' backhand is not the prettiest. Not to pick on poor Nuno. It's just, I mean, you guys are watching the same match I am. But he gets it done. And I think that there's a lesson in there for all of the fellow rec players. It doesn't have to be the prettiest shot to be effective. Forgive me, the lighting in my office is a little dicey, and so it looks every now and then like I'm going into witness protection program, depending on where the sun is in relation to the day. Okay, 15 all. Christian Ruud. You'll never guess who his kid is. Oh, that's right. Casper is in attendance. I think similar enough climates. Canada, Norway, fjord adjacent. Nice in the summer. Not for me the rest of the year. Some people like it. And we've got a nice extended rally here at 15 all. Borges looking good out there. 15-30. Nice inside in forehand up the line. If you're in the chat, would love to see predictions. I'll make mine because no one can stop me. I'm saying Borges in 3. It's just not Casper Ruud's year. A lot of these guys have a down year. This will be it. Oh my Lanta. Ghost of Garolitis has entered the chat. One of the funniest commentators, maybe the funniest, certainly the likeliest to get me in trouble with questions and comments in there. And you know what? We need that. We need more of that. We need a little levity in our world in these hashtag uncertain times in the tennis world. Borges looking very good. Missed that last ball. That's tough. It lands the baseline. No, not a ton of time to get his feet set. Nice ball by Ruud. Just clipped the line there. 30 all. Looks like there's a touch of a lag on the screen here with where the score's at. Just so you know, it's 30 all. Ruud serving. Down love 1 on my feed. If you're in the chat and I'm too far ahead of you and it's annoying, go ahead, let me know. Happy to slow it down if there's consensus on that. I curse my fast American Wi-Fi. It's tough. Little dig at our friends in the UK that have slower Wi-Fi for whatever reason. And this is a pivotal point early in the match. Borges looking to generate a break opportunity. Ooh, he could have done a little bit more with that net cord, but he's still in it. Nice extended rally. And a lovely volley winner by Nuno Borges to generate the first break point of the match. Okay. Tell you this much. Anybody predicting a Borges win is pretty happy right now. Off to the exact start that you want to see. Tom is jumping in, and I'm excited.
Yo.
Tom, how we doing, man?
How we doing, Zach? How we doing?
It's a lovely day in cloudy, rainy, super hot, humid North Carolina. Where are you from today?
Well, it's not as hot, not as cloudy, but yeah, I'm in Glasgow, Scotland. So just outside Glasgow, Scotland. So it's 20 to 9 at night for me, but it must be like the middle of the day for you.
Yes, it is. It is 3:37 in the afternoon. It is 35 degrees C, and it's going to stay that way and get worse for the rest of the weekend. Just a little fun aside. My wife's family is from Scotland as well.
Good genes. Good genes. Yeah.
Not for when it's sunny outside, but for everything else, you betcha.
Yeah.
The amount of sunscreen that they have to go through is just a different level. But with that, Borges gets the break here. Tom showing up in an interesting moment.
Just in time, yeah.
Yeah, man. Do we think Borges has a shot? I do, but the math would say not really.
I mean, look, Nuno Borges beat Casper Ruud on the clay, didn't he, at the French Open? So
You betcha.
there's certainly pedigree there. There's probably not, as much of a quality talent chasm as it might seem on paper.
Yeah.
Casper Ruud is the 8th seed, and I think a lot of players will see this event now. Particularly with Musetti going out, number 3 seed as well. No Carlos, no Yannick, no Novak. So I think a lot of the players are, putting a bit of weight in this. And of course, Casper Ruud has already won a Masters 1000 this year again on the clay. So he's known. He's a former US Open finalist as well, Casper. So he knows the North American hard courts.
Yeah.
Borges has made a good start, but he's been in a bit of form this year. Hot and cold maybe. But I said when I was coming on that you'd pre-match predicted that the Portuguese would do it. So I'll just for the argument of this for this stream, I'll go Casper. I do like Casper. I've always kind of tried to defend him in terms of when he was going through that spell of reaching Grand Slam finals.
Yeah.
There was also the social media like this is the worst player to be playing in a Grand Slam final. I would always defend him. I think he's just he's a nice guy, isn't he? Not too far. The Nordics are not too far from us here in Scotland, so there's probably Viking blood in me. I don't mind wee Casper, and I'll root for him in this. But I think it's a hard one. I was thinking about it before I came on the stream. Right, who do I think is going to win? And as I say, I look back at the form, and I look back at Casper Ruud's trying to get revenge for that second round defeat. So good start by Nuno.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, so Casper, he's widely, maybe universally considered a nice guy to the point that it's like at this stage in his career almost considered like a detriment, right? Like he's too nice of a guy. And I do sometimes worry that for him, for FAA, for a couple of other players on the tour, they just don't have that little bit of jerk in them that you need to get over the hump in a major. And I think, I think Casper, you're right. He's got an all-around game. It should transit to every surface. Like he's played at the highest levels of the game, and it just feels like realistically to me, his best days are behind him. I don't see a world in which he can catch a Sinner or an Alcaraz.
Yeah.
I don't even really see a world in which he can catch a Zverev at this point, and that's got to be so frustrating. And so like, there's a couple guys having down years, like compared to their peaks, like Casper, and I think that's part of the why. It's like, they just simply cannot physically do what Alcaraz and Sinner can. And it's leading to this really interesting moment where it's like, okay, somebody's going to catch these guys at some point. Who's it going to be? Because I don't think it's going to be all of them. There's like maybe one. Is it going to be Fonseca? Can Ruud find another gear? Is Zverev going to get over the hump? Definitely not, by the way, in my opinion. Who's it going to be? Like, do you think Casper could be that guy as Borges is now serving to go up 3-0, the second most deceptive score in sports?
Well, I think it's a very interesting, but a couple of points there, very intriguing. I mean, Casper, they talk about in golf, right? They talk about that you have like the guys who win events, they have like this kind of 18-month to 2-year spell where they're the main man, and then, either form goes or somebody else on tour comes. Now, tennis isn't as much like that, as we've seen for the longevity of champions in our sport. But I think, for Casper, it was just that period before, Yannick and Carlos really came through. I know he did get beat off Carlos in one of his finals. He was in that kind of area where, like, the big three were tailing off. He and then it was just before the kind of new next gen. Do you know what I mean? Like you had that probably 12-month period where if he wanted to win a Grand Slam, it had to be then. It's similar to the way Medvedev's gone. I don't see Medvedev probably winning another Grand Slam, unfortunately for Daniil, because I do like him. I think, it's amazing to see that he's on this card and he's the 10th seed, and that's with, Carlos, Yannick, and Novak not in it. So it's just mind-boggling because, for 3-4 years there, he was, in the top 4 or 5 in the game consistently. Yeah. So I think Medvedev took advantage of that kind of transition period, and Casper just didn't, because he just didn't have that kind of final edge. It's interesting you say where's his ceiling? I think, unfortunately, I mean, to be honest, at the start of the year, I wouldn't have said he won Madrid. So, I mean, there you go. And the cards fell nicely for him. Couldn't replicate that going into Paris. But I think he's just going to be the kind of guy who's a bit of a journeyman, if I'm being honest. We call a journeyman in, like, in football, where like, a guy's had many clubs. And Casper will just be that guy who, the odd event now and again, he'll make a run to the latter stages. These events here, as I said at the top, these events here are the ones where I think, he can try and take advantage, the fact that the big boys aren't here. It's a really good opportunity for a lot of players out there. But yeah, I think Casper, I don't see him reaching another Grand Slam final. Again, as somebody who's quite fond of Casper, I wouldn't mind to see it, but I just don't think he has the tools. I think he's got that forehand, which for a while was working for him, but his game really hasn't really kind of evolved from that forehand. It's just that's his main weapon, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? He likes golf too much. He's too nice of a guy. And if he gives up golf and turns into a bit of a jerk, anything could happen.
Well, he takes Wimbledon off it, doesn't he? He only really goes to London so that he can hit the golf courses round about southwest London. So it's and that's another point, because it's when I first kind of started watching the tennis and watching Casper Ruud, he was everyone was telling me he was a clay court specialist, and then obviously. He did make that run in New York, and I remember him winning like I think it was a Masters 1000 in Miami, and he got to like the quarterfinals, and he wrote in the camera, "Look, I'm not just a clay court player," kind of thing. And so it was almost like he was trying to prove people that he can play in the hard court. But for Casper, he does take that kind of period off after the French Open. He's not fussed about the grass, so. Again, we're talking about Casper's long-term ambitions. You can take one Grand Slam completely out of that anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we're asking him, does he want to win a Grand Slam? And he's really only picking from 3, and that's at a stretch anyway, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And really quickly, Ruud is trying to get on the board here now, 40-15 on his serve. Couple comments that I want to just point to for a moment. One, as Ghosty points out, Michelson did beat Musetti. Not a shock, but a light surprise, I guess. I mean, Michelson's a super talented player, and he's got the game for hard courts. He's obviously comfortable in North America. And then the other one is Lerner Tien beating Shapovalov, the Canadian, in straight sets. And I think perhaps Ghosty's poking fun at my love for Lerner Tien, but I agree with everything he's saying. He is fit. He is smart. He is driven. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He makes nothing but good choices, as Ruud, by the way, holds serve here to get on the board. I really think that people are underrating Lerner Tien because he doesn't have huge weapons. And it reminds me, spiritually, very different games, but similar player, Leighton Hewitt. Leighton Hewitt didn't have a huge weapon. His weapon was his fitness, his feet, and his brain. And, look, Tien, a lot of similar traits, and lefties are tricky. Do you share my affinity, dare I say my love for Lerner Tien?
Well, do you know, first of all, it's funny because you mentioned, Leighton Hewitt, and 5 minutes ago you were talking about, Casper Ruud not having that grit, that anger, that kind of, XXX housery in him kind of thing, whereas Leighton Hewitt definitely did have that. I don't know if you would concur that, Lerner Tien does have that kind of aspect as well, or is he too nice? I mean, one thing I will say, Lerner Tien versus Brandon Nakashima is like the talking tennis WhatsApp wet dream, man. Like everybody in that chat loves those two guys. And, so there'll be many eyes on that one. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, for me, again, you hark back to the fact that this is an opportunity for these guys who are looking for the breakthrough moment. Now, last year again, I mean, this Masters does throw up, champions, random champions now and again, and you can even look at Alexei Popyrin last year. I almost had to double take when I was seeing Medvedev was playing defending champion Alexei Popyrin. I was like, oh, aye. Do you know what I mean? So, I think, Lerner Tien, there's a lot of excitement around him. Similar to Brandon Nakashima, although that's probably died down a bit.
Oh my gosh! By the way, sorry to cut you off there, Tom.
No, go for it.
That miss. That is one of the narrowest misses I've seen in weeks. I mean, a sliver of a millimeter, as Ruud is hoping to force the action here. 15-30 on Borges' serve. Let's see if, close ball there by Borges, 30 all, still a big point coming up. You're right, though, like the 1000s, and that to me is one of the things that's so fun about them is like they have some just like random winners. I actually prefer the previous format with the shorter timeline. I think like you just get more tennis that way. You know, you get a little bit more bang for your buck, and I don't think that they're ever going back to that.
I think the
format,
players do as well, though. I think the players, they're talking about the, and I know the argument is like, because of this like kind of elongated format, that players maybe get a bit of rest, but do they get rest? They're going to be on the courts anyway. Like, so as opposed to maybe 1 week of constant tennis where their practice really is their tennis, they're now doing 14 days. They're playing for maybe 7 or 8 of those 14 days, but they're on the practice, so they're actually doing 14 days of work, and the players don't like it. You've seen I understand the arguments in terms of these events in Canada. They always seem to be the one that kind of gets struck worse just by its timing in the calendar. Last year was the Olympics, so it suffered there as well. And then you've got the big hitters who are like you say Yannick Carlos, who aren't necessarily injured, but they're saying we need to take a rest here because we want to start. Our focus is already on New York, so and it just seems like Canada always seems to be kicked in the stones, and sadly, so I agree with you there in terms of the format. Get it done in a week.
Yeah, man, and also As somebody who lives, an hour and a half away from the Winston-Salem Open, it's the week right before the U.S. Open. It's a 250, but it's the exact same thing. We're never getting a top 15 guy. We rarely get a top 25 guy for that exact reason. We do for whatever reason. Arthur Fields is always in the Winston-Salem Open bracket, and I don't know, maybe he met a nice.
I was going to say the same.
Nice Southern girl one year. Hey, I'll keep coming back. Maybe his sponsors really want him to go. Maybe he's getting a crazy court appearance fee. I have no idea. But yeah, Alcaraz was there when he was 17 years old and weighed 130 pounds. Borges with a very nice hold here. Yep. I'm liking the way he's getting forward. I mean, he's had a couple of very emphatic put away volleys. I think that, for whatever reason, he seems able to push Ruud back a little bit more than I expected him to. Then he's pressing his advantage. Yes, Ghosty, by the way, I love, is the only other person that seems to match my energy for Lerner Tien. He is right about those stylistic differences. I don't know that I agree that Nakashima is a Sampras clone because I don't think that he does. I mean, tell me if I'm missing something. He just doesn't get forward the way Sampras did. He doesn't serve and volley the same way. Yeah. I do think, to me, Nakashima plays your stock game of tennis. He makes good choices off both wings. He's got solid technique. He is in solid shape. He's just a solid player, but there's not a ton of creativity to his game. He's not a battering ram because he doesn't quite have weapons like that, but he's not going to throw a lot of flair at you. No one's going to confuse, if you blur out the player and you see the shots, no one's going to be like, gee, is that Brandon Nakashima or Corentin Moutet, right? Whereas Tien, man, there's a lot of slice in there. He'll throw up a moon ball every now and then. Mudasir Cricketer is asking how many sets remaining, and one of the quirks of tennis, hey, good question. As well as we do. Could be 2, could be 3. We're likely halfway through the first.
Maximum of 3
maybe
is probably
more.
the answer. A maximum of 2.5, shall we say. But yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, the way I kind of describe how I watch my tennis is I'm very much who excites me. I like the flashy, the flair. And for particular reason, I'm not as much again in the Talking Tennis WhatsApp. Cam Norrie's well loved. I'm not somebody who would rush home for work and maybe record the Cam Norrie match and not look at the result just to watch it later on, which I've done in the past for players who excite me. I remember
Give us some examples. Yeah, who are those players that you're like, man, I got to record this?
Well, I mean, so I remember the Djokovic Carlitos semi-final. Is it 2022 or 23 where Carlos ended up getting the cramps and in the semi-final at the French Open? And I remember I was working that day in the office and I was like, I need to watch this match, but I want to watch this match as if I'm watching it live. So I'm muted the WhatsApp. I'm recording it at home. I actually, at the time, was playing, as you might call it, soccer, but I'll call it football. So I finished work, I went and played football, and then got home at like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm all good to go with it, with the French Open stream that I've recorded now. For whatever reason, well, I know why. The problem with that was, Zach, is it tells me the length of time of the recording. So it was like an hour 45 minutes. And so I'm like,
yeah.
So when Djokovic wins the first set, I'm like, oh, he must win this in straight sets. And like, how is this an hour and 45 minutes, this match? Like, I'm like, so I'm pure what? Because I'm a Carlos fan. Like, so I'm like watching it going, oh, God, how did Djokovic beat him in straight set? Yeah. So I'm watching the second set, and then Carlos wins the second set, and he wins it quite comfortably. And I'm like, this doesn't make like chronological sense. How this stream can only be like only have half an hour left, and we've only just finished the second set. Like, what is going on? And then like I found out early in the third, Carlos cramps. Yeah, and then it's just a bit of a kind of sideshow from there. So that's the kind of example I'm meaning. And Brandon Nakashima would go in the same Cam Norrie thing for me. Like, I know I'm going to get Brandon Nakashima and Cam Norrie go into this match. Most matches they play, you're thinking it's going to go 3 sets.
Yes.
That makes any sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, that's a great point.
So, whereas I like to go in like thinking, all right, this would be a good win for him or that. So, I don't know. You as an American, then pretty exciting time for American tennis. Now, we were talking there about I don't know if you nailed your colours to the mast, but like, have you got a pick for who might actually win this event on the men's side?
Oh boy, I don't. I think so. 30 all, Ruud serving, trying to get a second game on the board here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the draw. In fact, actually, I'm wondering if it's possible for the producer to pull up the draw and we can just kind of run through it on the changeover here. Cause like, I haven't gone there yet for who I think it is. I will say I am very bullish on Shelton. Like, I was going to say Shelton. I was going to say it's time for his breakthrough. It's time for him to be like, mixing it with the big guys. He's at a career high. So he's got the confidence of having an all-world like soccer playing like girlfriend, and like I also think, look, if you are 22 years old making millions of dollars gallivanting around the world and you're a single guy, it's probably safe and you're a world-class athlete, probably safe to assume you're out having a good time more than you should. Famously, some have suggested that Carlos Alcaraz can be a victim of that at times, right?
I've felt that as well.
Right. And you look at the big three, and like one thing they all have in common, like they all had life partners very early on in their career. They were not going to Ibiza. And if they were like on the beaches and going to bed by 10 p.m. with their families. Right. And Shelton, I think in my heart of hearts, I believe that sort of settling down is beneficial to a player's performance, unless they're just a straight up boring guy that like doesn't really like company,
That's a great point.
Right?
And I think Kyrgios not like on a podcast somewhere kind of hinting at like, say something like who's going to have the better career? Is it going to be Sinner or Carlos? And he was like, well, Carlos likes the ladies too much. So, I think it's going to be Yannick. I think that I might be totally making that up. I don't want to defame anyone, but
no, Kyrgios definitely said that. And like, sorry. Like, I'm going to come back to this because I'm going to rip on Kyrgios in a second. Borges with another break point here to get his second break of the first. What is going on?
This could be a quick
Toronto?
Stream.
Yeah. Ooh, he missed that first by several feet there. It looked like overspun it. Who amongst us isn't guilty? Doesn't look like that when I miss, but I understand the attempt. Second serve on a break point. Solid return from Borges. Keeping Ruud deep in the court, but Ruud dictating play too effectively. A forced error there. Back to deuce. We will be going through this draw in the changeover, and that
was just the forehand there that I was talking about. Casper Ruud, like it is a weapon that can get him out of tricky, sticky situations. And he was way back in the court there, but he managed to find the depth, push Borges out right, and he couldn't find the return.
Absolutely. Here we go. Ruud serving at deuce. Let's see what he does here. Nice. Yeah, that'll get it done. Are our stream synced up? Just saw an ace at 205 kilometers per hour there.
So my Sky Sports ended up jumping over to Coco Golf. So Sky Sports is obviously the people who show over here. So I've jumped onto a betting stream, and that is and that's proper up to date because obviously people will be gambling while watching I don't, by the way, but so I'm actually at game point. Casper Ruud serving now down the tee, and Nuno Borges finds the net with the block return. So it's 2-4.
Are we going to get in trouble if we try and call a point with each other's accents? I would love to. I love seeing the attempted American accent. If we were received,
no,
I will do a bad Scottish accent. It will not be good.
As long as I can do that, I can do that.
All right, let's see. So we have.
I'm gonna absolutely, but I'm gonna have Americans DMing me, sliding into my DMs.
Ruud gets the hold there.
I'll go try this one. Right, so I'm at. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this. Nuno Borges. Nuno Borges to serve second set. Wow, he's hit the net. It's a double foul. I don't know if that's his first double foul of the match.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's better than my Scottish is about to be. Okay, so let's see. Ghosty wants to hear you say purple.
It's this purple burglar alarm.
Purple
burglar alarm. He tries to get me more streams.
My Scottish great aunt-in-law rolls her R's.
Yeah,
I don't. Is that a thing? Oh yeah.
It really is.
It really is.
So just think of Shrek.
Huge return.
You sound like Gerard Butler.
Funny thing. I love when Gerard Butler tries to do an American accent because never once has he gotten through a full sentence with a good American accent, but he's trying his best.
Accent anymore either.
Yeah, and you know what? He seems like a nice enough guy, and his movies are entertaining, so no one's really that mad about it. But it's just not even close. Den of Thieves is one of my favorite movies of all time, and he plays a bad guy detective in that fantastic franchise. And Borges now serving at 15:30 here.
So he's in a bit of trouble after, potentially being 5-1 up and serving for the first set. He's now, 15:30 down. So it might be a bit of a timing, a turning of the tide. And as I say that, I know I'm a little bit ahead of you, but he's just put one long, a forehand long. So it does look like,
wow, 2 great points.
Now breaking back into the match.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's such a mental letdown, when you're about to get that second break. Honestly, when you're about to get a break or think you're about to get a break and then you don't. And this is a really common thing where somebody gets the break point, they don't convert, and then they get broken the next game. And I think every single stream I'm on, I'm going to say this. These guys are humans just like you and me. They have normal human emotions. They work very hard to control them in a way that normal people do not. They've spent time and money and effort thinking about all this stuff. But they're still people. I'm sure that the voices in his head are not silent, thinking come on, man, you should have had that break. And that's a killer.
It's the amount of time it happens in tennis, though. It actually happened in I know you say Michelson, I'll say Mickelson for the Mickelson-Musetti match. Musetti, should have won it probably in the second set.
Yeah.
Mickelson took it, and then Musetti, broke early in the third set. Was Mickelson broke back, and then Musetti was love 40 up just to go 2-1 up, and from then you're thinking he's going to see this out.
Yeah,
but the momentum changed. Mickelson got it back, held serve, broke in the next game, and then he just it took him 7 match points, but he got there.
Speaking of breaks, Ruud gets the break. We are back on serve, or actually we're on serve. I think for the first time since One Love now, in set number 1 in Toronto. For those of y'all just joining us. Pretty solid tennis overall. I mean, I think Borges' first serve percent, and it's blocked by the message of we're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers before the U.S. Open. Maybe if somebody subscribes, we can move that so we can see the first serve percentages, but not until somebody does. Borges there we go, got a subscription. Borges 41% first serve, Ruud 81%. Realistically, if you're on serve with those numbers, you would think Borges' first serve will come up, Ruud's will come down. That might even suggest that Borges has an advantage here. I think it's just one of those things where it's been a bit of a weird first set. I will say Borges is doing a great job keeping the returns deep. It seems like the adjustment that Ruud has made out there is he's standing a little bit closer in. He's being a little more aggressive, taking it a bit earlier, and really forcing the action. But Borges, I mean, the first couple of games, he was pushing Ruud around and pushing him back, and that's why he was able to get forward. You'll notice these last couple of games, Borges has not been able to do that. And I
Bang
think
on.
that's a really, really good adjustment by Ruud, if I'm correct in my
Yeah,
assessment there.
I mean, I didn't see the first game, but when I came on the stream, I think Borges actually did he not break serve by by a volley. Yeah, you are right there. Casper Ruud though does look like he's just settled down a bit, and it's looking like so far that if Casper can get into a rally with Nuno, then Casper 9 times out of 10 is probably going to win that rally.
Let's just scroll through this draw as Ruud serves at 15 love here. I'll tell you who's not going to win this. It's Zverev. Not a fan of his for any number of reasons, but I'll stick to his game for this. He's boring to watch. He plays the most uninspired tennis. I hope Cerundolo can be a problem for Zverev. I think Zverev probably is going to make a deep run, relatively deep run. But I just, oh God, I guess the one player that I like seeing go against Zverev is Alcaraz, because it seems like the way that Zverev plays, it leads to spectacular shots from Carlos. But against anybody else, it just feels like work to watch him play tennis.
But maybe it's because Carlos is bored as well. It's just it's that growing at the same time. Every single shot, and you're watching it, and just like, come on, man.
I didn't realize, by the way, that Musetti was the 3 seed. That's a bigger win for Michelson than is it Michelson or Michelson? I always get it mixed up.
I would say Michelson, but people can correct us. I'm sure it'll just be dialect in different regions. I always kind of refer to, and I haven't, by the way, on this occasion, but I would refer to the ATP website. They do a great tool where you can actually click and hear the players saying their own name. So if I'm ever coming on the stream and it's particularly one of the Russian or Baltic states names, I make sure that I've listened to the name.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I didn't realize this match was coming up today. I think that so Zverev is not fun. Yes. I mean, the height difference is a full foot there. Zverev is unpleasant to watch. Riley Opelka is the least fun player to watch in tennis right now, and it's not close. However, because of the height difference, because of the stylistic clash, I actually think that's going to be a ton of fun to watch. Like, if I'm Leonard Tien, I'm alternating between two return strategies. I'm putting my butt on the fence and trying to guess right, or I'm standing right on the baseline and trying to block it back and just make Riley Opelka hit a ground stroke, something that he's oftentimes incapable of doing. That is absolutely on my must-watch list. Leonard Tien, I think, is going to win that match, and I like his chances to be competitive, if not win, against Michelson, and anything could happen from there. Ruud, I don't think, is going to make a deep run. Kachanov,
he's
got a very tough
consistent. Karen Khachanov, he went through a period again, a plum period of a couple of years where he was a nail on a stick on for a Grand Slam quarter final. So he's a consistent guy. Again, he's probably, and I don't like to use it, it's just probably similar to what Casper Ruud will be in his career. He's one of these journeymen who can maybe cause the big players a problem now and again. I get the odd scalp of them. But is he really going to be able to, see it all the way through to lifting a trophy? Probably not.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, look, Rune could make a deep run. I'm not seeing Shelton's draw here yet. Where's he at?
Shelton's down at the bottom of the draw.
Is he?
Oh.
Okay, let's see the second, the lower half. I mean, Tiafoe, comfortable in North America, always has a good clay court season. I think Nakashima is a tough draw for Shelton, but certainly if he wins that, I don't think Kaboli or Morosian should give him a ton of problems. Shelton's a good pick.
I said I got it totally wrong. I said earlier on it was Leonard Tien and Nakashima, so that's I'll need to correct myself. That wasn't the matchup.
There's just so many talented young American players. It's easy to get them mixed up. I get it.
I see the American flag and I'm like, all right, okay. And then I just don't even register what players there. So my mistake. Let's talk Musetti quickly. Just in terms of that match that was just on before this. Again, Musetti struggled really, over the last, couple of months, in and out of form. Injury has played a part as well. I'm so sorry, Tom, to cut it in. I just want to point out we got another double break point for Ruud here, and this set that looked great for Borges might be getting away from him. Sorry, keep going. No, I just wondered while I was watching the Mickelson-Musetti match, like great win for Alex, second top 10 win of his career. I think Musetti's been at the end of that. The last couple of weeks. People getting a top 10 win. I'm sure Cam Norrie did the same. The first top 10 win in a while, and he's in that top 10, and he seems to be offering other players like that scalp. So I just wondered where Musetti goes. I remember Musetti, he had a great year last year, right? 2024 was good, and I think there was a lot of expectation going into this year that he could be the one to watch. Could he make that next step up and cause the other two problems? I do remember him when he first came on the scene. Musetti and Carlos for me were the two young guns at 16, 17, who everyone was saying these two are going to be the two best players in the world. And as much as it's happened for Carlos, it didn't probably happen at the same speed for Lorenzo Musetti. Now, I know he's got things going on in his life in terms of like kids and whatnot, and it was a great point you made earlier on, by the way, about the settling down. I'd never thought of it like that in terms of the big three. And if we throw in my boy Andy Murray as well, he had his misses very early as well. So they were committed to tennis, and I know that Carlos sometimes gets a wee bit of backlash about being seen in Ibiza clubs right after winning it. But anyway,
an athlete that is much more in the Alcaraz mold on that front, famously, is Lamine Yamal, or is it Yamin Lamal? I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, like
did you hear about his 18th? Did you hear about his 18th birthday?
I heard a little about it.
Did you? So did it make news over stateside? Because he had some shenanigans going on at his birthday party, shall we say.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. This is, a cultural difference. In the States, the attitude was like, what exactly is the problem? Like, did he not pay folks that were entertainers? Like, why are people mad? And in Spain, I guess they're investigating it. It doesn't feel like there's much to investigate. It seems pretty clear what he did at his birthday party.
Wasn't it? A bit Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly. Tom, are you from Aberdeen originally?
No, Glasgow.
Okay, that's right. There is a I did a quick Google. There is a Scottish football player named Tom Grant from Aberdeen, which is why I thought maybe that before you moved to Glasgow, that maybe that could have been you. Different Tom Grant.
I wish I had the ability of the pro game, but no. But there used to be
28 appearances for Falkirk from 2012 to 2016. Could have been you.
Falkirk's my team. So there's a guy called Tom Grant who played for Falkirk. Oh, there was
Thomas Grant, and I guess
yeah. I remember, and I'm sure there's something weird about that. Like he's got like a very similar birthday to me.
May 31st for him. By the way, Nuno Borges, the king, battling back in this game to make it 5-4. That's a good hold. Ruud looks like a little bit miffed as much as a Scandinavian does. Let's see if he can get the hold and keep things going here. If I'm Borges, that was a pretty encouraging hold, though, and would be, look, it's a pivotal point in the set. Of course, he's going to be going for it, but he's got the confidence, I think, to swing a little bit extra in this 4 serving 5 game from Ruud here.
Do you see do you put a lot of weight on this first set? Like, in terms of if Nuno Borges win it, you're thinking Casper is still in this match, right? So, this could well go 3 with Casper turning it around. The momentum's a big thing for me in tennis, and after Casper got that break back, I'm thinking he's seen this out now 6-4. And when I saw the break points, I was pretty adamant it was going to be that way. Well done, Nuno, for not letting my thinking be reality. But what I'm going to ask is it vital for you, in your opinion, Zach, that Nuno Borges wins this first set? Because, otherwise, if he loses this first set, it's going to be a real struggle for him to.
It's a great question, and I think unequivocally yes. I think that you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head in the question. If Ruud loses the first set, it's inconvenient. He's not going to want to go 3, but there's no doubt that he can win 2 straight and come back and win this match. For Borges, if he loses set 1, it's really tough to see him winning both set 2 and 3 at that point. I guess the one thing I will throw out there, the one exception to that, Borges, just by nature of where he's from, he's more accustomed to playing in the heat than the Scandinavian player, right? And so, It's hot in Canada right now. It's
Come
hot in
on.
North
How
America.
often does Casper Ruud play in Norway? Like he's playing in hot countries all the time.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I think he plays in hot places all the time. I have a bias towards players. I have many biases. I have a bias towards players that train in warm weather countries. In particular, I think that the thing holding Jack Draper back the most is that he doesn't train in like Las Vegas or Miami or, you know, something, or Mallorca, wherever. I think that he's somebody who clearly struggles with the heat. You're right. Ruud, realistically, like it's not really a thing that's plagued his career, but on a hot day, things kind of go out the window and it becomes a fitness battle sometimes.
Is Ruud not a product of Rafa's academy as well? Like,
God, that's a bad miss on my part.
I might be wrong in that. I'm sure that there's some truth to that. Whether or not he was proper, like from a teen or from a young teen in there, but I know that there's definitely something in there. Let me ask you though. I mean, I'm actually kind of starting to roll back a little bit on my question, and the only thing for that is, I've said, Casper wins this first set. It's lights out for Nuno Borges. But would you have said the same in the Musetti-Mickelson match? Probably.
I guess the thing I would say that's different there is Mickelson's serve is such that he can steal a set. He can play a slightly below average baseline game, just hold serve, and get a little bit lucky. And I don't think that Borges has that luxury. I think that's where the players that don't have a big weapon like Mickelson's serve, like Casper Ruud's forehand, that really works against them to me in those settings. I think that's Opelka's game plan every match, right? Is just go to a tiebreaker 3 times and hope for the best. I mean, Then I think, there's a long history of players, or long-ish history of players 6-8 or higher. Yeah, Isner was one. Isner's probably the most famous other example. Would you
put Mpechi Pericard in that now?
I absolutely would. I would put Ivan Lubicic in that category to some extent. I think, I don't know, was Mario Ancic like that? Not quite that extreme, but there's any number of big servers. Mark Philippoussis.
I was about to say Mark Philippoussis, but he reached Grand Slam finals galore with that tactic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if folks watching remember this, but like there is this discourse of like, oh my God, tennis is dead. The serve bots are here, and I guess we're just gonna see a round of that every decade or so here and there for a little bit. But like, there will always be somebody who's got the courage to take creative, risky shots like Carlos Alcaraz, and maybe they're not always going to be a mere 6 foot, which is tall.
Did you see Ivo Karlovic as well? Did you see?
I didn't, but that is another perfect example of an Opelka predecessor. They just are getting taller as time goes by. I guess that's how human.
I just remember when Andy Murray would face like Karlovic or like Wimbledon or something, you'd be like, how is he going to win a point here? But Andy Murray was that wily that he just knew if he could get the ball, if he could get his racket to the ball and get it into the court, he's going to win that rally.
Yep. Look, if Andy Murray, and that's exactly the play. If he could guess right 4 out of 7 times, that'll get it done. You get a double fault. That is it. I mean, you could argue, and I think this is uncharitable, that one of my favorite, if not my favorite player of all time, Goran Ivanisevic, falls into that category.
Good point. He had a great serve. Serve, and he obviously took that great serve and improved Novak's. And for me, that's what won Novak. Probably the last 5 Grand Slams. Just the serve had just the spot serving of Novak's over the last 5-10 years since he turned 30. Was just immense. I can remember watching him at Australia in 2021 or 2020. I can't remember which one, but I think there was one that he wasn't even there. But just his spot serving was what won him that event one time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Borges down, love 15 at 5-all. We're in the stage of the set where every game is a pivotal game. You could argue that in every professional match, every game is a pivotal game, but it's not true equally. It's extra true. It's more true, at least now. Second serve here.
I do that as well, Zach. I remember making up my own kind of mantra of, it's only a good break of serve if you consolidate if you win your next service game. And then I realised that's not actually strictly true, because you can break serve and then win the set at the same time. So I do it as well.
This saying that I've always heard for that is, it's not a break until you hold. By the way, I'm curious what your thoughts on this. The position of Ruud on Borges' serve is baffling to me. He appears to be standing in closer on the first serve than the second, And I mean, and his return position on Borges' second serve, which is certainly not in the Karlovic, Ivanisevic, Opelka category. It makes no sense. I mean, it's working out just
it's
fine.
working because he's just forced Nuno Borges into a double fault, which you'll see in just a second.
Yeah.
I get what you're meaning. I mean, I don't know if it's almost like fear of a kick serve or,
Yeah.
Because like you say, I'm just watching it now, 2 break points here. I'll talk us through this one. Borges does get, it's a complete miss hit from Casper Ruud. My stream kind of stumbled a bit, but it looked like Borges hit a fairly gettable first serve, and it was a complete miss hit by Casper Ruud. So 1 break point saved. Second break point, Casper Ruud.
I just saw it and that did suck.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So players are rallying. Casper Ruud has a broken serve. Pretty meek backhand. There wasn't even much pressure or risk on it from Nuno Borges. And that's what sometimes I find with Nuno Borges. He's one of these players that looks like he can't be bothered sometimes, or he's injured. And then he can go through like spells in a match where he's just like, he's seen the tennis ball as a football. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Unfortunately for him and for any Portuguese fans, just looking a bit like the former there. And so Casper Ruud will serve for the first set, which, as we discussed, could be danger time, end game time for Nuno Borges. But let me go back to something then, Zach. You wanted to rail on Nick Kyrgios, so talk to me.
Yeah, man. I was a Kyrgios defender for years and years and years because I have a soft spot for the head cases. I think there's nothing more human and also, to me, sometimes fun. You see somebody who's in a fight with himself on the court, and maybe this is just me, I desperately want them to figure it out. I want to see that light bulb go off. I want to see him learn to take a deep breath and find it. I think Andre Agassi is a great example of a guy who had a tortured relationship with tennis and himself. And then, in his mid to late 20s, he said, you know what? I want to be the best tennis player that I can. And he committed himself and he figured it out. And I found that motivational and inspirational and just generally kind of cool. And I wanted that for Kyrgios for years and years and years and years. And the moment that it changed for me is when the first season of Breakpoint came out. Because I went from thinking, here's a guy struggling with his mental health, trying his best, to, here's a guy who's a coward. Here's a guy who is too scared to try. And instead of that, he's going to brag about how little effort he puts in. So then he can say, oh, well, I'm more talented than you. Because that's his North Star. Yeah. And like I say, take your talent and shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Because like, I just cannot, like my moral code is such, I can't root for somebody that takes joy and pride in their lack of effort. It's an insult to the fans. It's an insult to himself. Whether he admits it or not, and I don't think he ever will, he has let himself down on the global stage, and he will have to live with that for the rest of his life. And I hope he grapples with it. And honestly, I hope that he figures it out, talks about it, and tells future generations of players, don't be like me. Yeah. Maximize your time, maximize your potential. And I also just want to point out that Crippled Gasp 7 says, cheap viewers on streamboo.com remove the space at 5T0ZUQAP. Thank you so much for that insightful comment. Keep it coming. As Borges is down, is at 15 all, trying desperately
15 all, 30-15. I mean, just quickly before we potentially finish this first set. Kyrgios for me comes across like quite an immature guy, very. I never really grasped, and I heard like certain podcasts and people in the sport who would say he's not even a tennis player anymore. He's a part-time tennis player. He's a social media star. Yeah. But he was on a lot of British radio talk sport over here during the Wimbledon fortnight, and just every story just seemed to be like, I know, but it just used to be like every anecdote he had was always, but because I'm such a bad boy, like that's how it ended up like this, or me. It was almost like it's just like playing up to this image that he's created of being like a bad boy of tennis, and he says, and it's almost like he's just been like that just to try and. He always go, tennis needs characters, and I was one of those characters, and that's why I got so sanctioned all the time, and it's just like, get over yourself.
No, you were a jerk. Like he was a dick to people, and he's like, that's just me. It's like, man, like look in a mirror. Like look, like you should feel like the way that he treats people, he should feel bad about himself. Like he should be embarrassed. Like his lack of shame is why he does so well on social media. Because lack of shame is a superpower, as we're at 30 all here, although I know you're a little ahead of me and you probably know what's going to happen.
Well, no, Casper Ruud is just serving, and Nuno Borges wins with a fantastic cross-court return. So we have a break.
Okay.
Just final word on Nick Kyrgios.
Yeah,
it's actually just jumped out of my head. What was I going to say? Okay, it'll come back to me. It's just that points. Maybe,
I'm down to rip on Kyrgios for forever because kids, like, you don't want to be like Nick Kyrgios. You just don't. And parents, you don't want to get to date Nick Kyrgios or bring him home, like.
I mean, obviously he's had his own. He's not had his own problems to seek, in terms of relationships and allegations. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, talking about immaturity, I was watching a video. I think it must have been from Washington, and it was the ATP who were retweeting it the other day because Washington was on last week, and it was him talking about how he that video, he throws the water bottle off the umpire's chair. And then the umpire's seen it, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, it slipped from my hand." That it was just
yeah, man. He doesn't even own it. Just own it. By the way, that forehand from Ruud at 30-40 was massive as we were at deuce. And the thing that you just talked about Nuno Borges, about how he looks like he can't be bothered. That backhand return, it's the difference between being 48 in the world and being 18 in the world. Is you just cannot hit the return he just hit at this level as often as he does. I will say, though, as Borges is only making 37% of his firsts, maybe we're not giving him enough credit in his ability to hang in there. And if he loses this set, come back. Ruud with the pretty silly shot there.
I was timing when you were going to say that, so you're about 30 seconds behind me. But yeah, between the legs. But then again, it was a great look. That's exactly what I'm talking about Borges. He's just played an amazing point there. It's been he's constructed it. He's known where he's going to go. Probably next shot ahead of him, and he's been in complete control of that. But 3 points earlier, the ball's past him, and he's already walking to the other side of the court without any effort. So,
Prince Adnan, if you press subscribe, you can upgrade yourself to King Adnan. So something to think about.
Very good point.
The path to 20K, man. It's happening. A second serve here from Ruud at deuce. Let's see if Borges can get another break point here. Nope. The exact same backhand miss on the exact same location and placement and everything. Ugh.
Frustration.
Yeah. By the way, one thing we have, as Ruud serves for the set here, we have not touched on Jacob Mensik, a player that for whatever reason, I mean, he's every bit as talented as Fonseca. He might even be as talented as Lerner Tien, and he just doesn't get the same quite level of recognition. And I would argue that there's a light, maybe more, anti-Eastern European bias in the governing bodies of tennis, in the marketing of tennis, in the structure of the tours themselves, particularly on the men's side. Because look, Menchik wasn't getting any wild cards as a youngster the way that Fonseca was. Menchik's dad is not the CEO of an investment banking firm or whatever, like Fonseca's was, and so he didn't have any of the advantages, and he's clawed his way into the top 20, and he's just kind of there, just lurking, and that strikes me as a guy who can make that jump, that could push Alcaraz and Sinner one day. Doesn't mean he's gonna, but he's got the tools, and he certainly has the weapons. As Borges, did he miss that return? Oh, God.
A couple of facets to that, Jack.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I don't know if it's bias, but I think in terms of Fonseca, I think his brand is the Brazilian aspect. I think that's the selling point, because you've seen, you've seen other courts having to shush them because the Brazilian fans are making so much noise. I think it's the whole, particularly in soccer, right? Brazil are the kind of famed football team, the World Cup winners, they won it the most, with the Brazilian footballers, soccer players. You get the flair, you get the greatest players in the world, Pele, you've got the samba aspect, Copacabana Beach. There's a love affair with Brazil, particularly in football, and I think there's a little bit of that kind of flamingo kind of, I think that is what the ATP want to push, because the market in South America, will be wow, we can make our mark here. Is there as much kind of for the Czech Republic.
As Ruud, by the way, closes out set one. Yeah, you're right. Like I think when I talk about bias, I don't mean that there's like negative feeling towards any one group of people, but like there is a prioritization over tapping into the South American market much more than there is over the Czech market, for example. And so they see in Fonseca someone that they're going to give a little advantage to. They're going to push a little bit harder. They're going to spend more time on marketing on. They're going to, more money's going to be in his pocket to pay for coaches and trainers because he's going to get the bigger brand deals earlier on in his career. And so when I talk about bias, that's what I mean. In the same way, like, look, Jack Draper, literally any advantage a young tennis player could have, Jack Draper has received. Yeah. Menchik certainly has not had that, and I think that there's any number of examples that are similar. I also think like every single time I get on a stream, I feel compelled, and I'm curious if you agree with this, to rip on the governing bodies of tennis. In tennis, about 20% of every dollar from the sport goes to the players. In the NFL, in the NBA, in the NHL, in the major American sports leagues and in professional soccer, it's more like 50% of the dollars go to the players. And so, like, what does that mean? They get better trainers. They get better nutritionists earlier in their career. They have more amenities. They're not flying coach as look, there are people at the tournament we are watching right now that flew coach from a long way away to get there and are staying in a crappy hotel, right? Yeah. Now, show me a soccer player or football player in the top 100 in the world that would accept those accommodations. Simply wouldn't happen. What about the top 200? What about the top 500? Wouldn't happen. There's no Serie A player. There's no Premier League player. There's probably not even Championship League players. As I'm watching more and more European football, so it's embarrassing to admit why, because of the Wrexham show, which is delightful.
Yeah,
cool. Like the standards that tennis players put up with, and nobody feels bad for them because they see big numbers, but they should. Like, they don't get the same caliber of treatment as athletes in all of these other sports that are not as global of games necessarily. Like, tennis is a more global game than basketball at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
so what's the resolution? Because I mean, these guys are obviously very well played players. You can. I mean, I can't remember the last numbers. You might be able to correct me, but you can turn up at a Grand Slam, get knocked out 6-love, 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 and you're walking away with a big paycheck. So I just wonder what the resolution is to this, because I understand, like, the product of tennis is what happens on the court. Now, the stars of the show, the actors in that product, because it is an entertainment product. I think sport has now evolved into the fact that it is an entertainment product. It's competing with your movies and your TV shows. So I just wonder what your mind's at, because you do clearly feel quite passionate about that.
Yeah.
You know your stats, you know the figures. 20%, when you say it like that, it doesn't seem like a big number in terms of the overall kind of income of tennis. But I just wonder, like, these guys are very well paid. So is it a simple just pay the players more? Is that just a simple?
No, it's to do it, a series of unpopular decisions have to get made by people in positions of authority that would lead to many of their colleagues no longer having jobs. I'm not talking about tennis players. Like, the bureaucracy and the structure of professional tennis is the problem, right? So you've got the ATP and the WTA tours. Each one's got an executive director. Each one's got a president. Each one's got their own comms team. Each one's got all these things. You've got the ITF. You've got then the national tennis associations. You've got the local and the regional tennis associations within each nation. You've got each major is its own entity, right? And so there are redundancies in tennis that exist that don't in the same way for many other sports, right? They're additionally, like, players pay for their own coaches. What other professional sport other than golf is that the case, right? And so like, there needs to be funds set aside by the majors, by the governing bodies, to fund these things. And that means reducing overhead. That means reducing staff. That means getting rid of some cushy jobs that exist for very wealthy, well-connected people. And the reason that it's not going to happen is because most of the time people in positions of authority don't just give it up. It has to be cleaved from their hands. And so who can do that? The players. If the players, like, and we saw this with the formation of
like, I was just going to ask you, so is this what the PTA are pushing? Is that what you're saying is what the PTA are pretty much asking for?
they're not radical enough, honestly. And I think that the issue is, are they prepared to go on strike? And are they prepared to miss a major, to sit out a major, right? Because look, the way that Major League Baseball, the way that in the formation of free agency as we know it in soccer, all team movement, all these things, they start by players saying, we're not going to play until this changes. And that makes the impact. It is harder to do that in tennis than almost any other sport. The exceptions might be boxing and golf, because the guy that's ranked 82 in the world, he probably needs the paycheck unless he's been in the top 100 for years and years and years. And so the money isn't there for, especially once you leave the top 50, but really the top 100, to do that. And so like the union the Players Association is a step in the right direction, but they essentially probably need years, if not decades, to build up and fill their coffers to have the resources in place where they can make a threat of a general strike demanding to get more money, to get better treatment, coaching, nutrition, all this stuff, and actually have that threat carry weight. Because right now, if players like, we're not going to go on, we're going to go on strike, or we're not going to show up to this tournament, the unity isn't there for them to have an actual boycott of a U.S. Open, of an Australian Open, something like that. And so I'm curious though, like, do I just sound like a raving lunatic?
No,
do you agree? Like, what?
I think no. Hands up. I don't know as much. Like I don't know tons about it. That's why I'm asking questions, because it is interesting. You've even sparked another thought of mine. Like, I remember at the Australian Open this year, there was
oh shoot! I'm so sorry, Tom. I am late to a work call. 4:30 was supposed to be a hard out for me, and I gotta go.
Go for it, mate.
Now to the chat, listen to what Tom has to say about paying players and treating them better. And Tom, it was a pleasure, man. Have a good one.
Absolutely, mate. Good to meet you, mate.
Bye. Likewise.
Okay, guys, that was quite an abrupt ending to that, but fair play to Zach. Some really good, strong opinions, really good knowledge of the game. And again, as I say, hold my hands up. The pay structure and how you can fix tennis is definitely way above my pay grade. So happy to discuss about it, but I wouldn't be able to give you any kind of add any value to your life, shall we say. But let's talk tennis rather than talk some funding. Yeah, so John's asked the question, do we think Casper gets this done in straight sets? For me, yes. I thought already that Nuno Borges is running a little bit of creativity, a little bit of ideas here. He's looking a little bit exasperated. He's looking a bit fed up. And it's because, he led early in that first set, and Casper came back and overturned it. So Casper just went long there. He does have game point to level up this second set. New video out on the Talking Tennis YouTube channel, and it's all about Alexila and how far she can go. So get that a watch. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans in the Philippines who'll give that one a view. So with our game point, Casper Ruud. So I'll just talk us through, as I always do in the stream. I will talk some points through blow by blow. I will go points without even talking about what's going on in the actual tennis. Should we go down another route? But Nuno Borges has just saved 2 game points and taken this one to deuce. So again, he's so hot and cold, isn't he? Rublev, Sonego, have they not played loads this year? Rublev, if I'm being completely honest, oh no, never mind. Thought my camera had gone. If I'm being completely honest, I've completely forgotten about Rublev. He's faded from my consciousness, and it was probably possibly because up until when was it? The Wimbledon, where he gave Carlos Alcaraz a wee bit of a scare by winning that first set. So Andre Rublev, again, his form has been so hot and cold, but the man has talent. So I will go for Rublev in 3. Sonego, good player as well. And there's always going to be, again, another one of those players we spoke about earlier on. somebody who gives the big players. You're going to find Lorenzo Sonego on a day where he's hot and he's hitting the ball well, and he's always going to try and take a set off you, and he's always going to cause you problems. You're in for a match when it comes to Sonego. So, but I'll go for Rublev just because form is temporary, class is permanent. Davidovich, Fekina, Mencic now. ADF. He's been some run of form. It's so heartbreaking losing that final to de Minaur. 3 championship points. You could see how distraught he was after it. Alex de Minaur, I thought, done really, really well to console him, and was quite a gracious winner. I think surely he's going to have to be running a bit of empty, the Spaniard, because with him he's full throttle. He's 3-set match galore, deep into match tie breaks. So yeah, I'll go for Jakub Mencic. The returning to the North American hard courts. Of course, won Miami. Different court, different pace. Different surroundings, different factors. But I think Jakub Mencic, just because Davidovich Fekina maybe going to come up short and needs a wee bit of a rest. So I'll go for Mencic in 2 and Rublev in 3. How about that? Anyone got anything different to say? Anyone want to comment on whether or not they agree with me? Give us a shout. But back to the tennis. We're at 1-0 in the second set. Casper Ruud did see out that game that became a little bit tricky after being 40-15 up. Borges lovely drop shot by Nuno Borges, and so much so that Casper was taken way wide of the tram lines and tried to go round the post. And yeah, so 15-love, Nuno Borges. Will we catch up on what else is going on? I know that Coco Gauff was playing, and so I think was it Kudermetova live tennis scores. Coco Gauff, she's a setting a break down to Kudermetova. So a bit of a shock there. Not really had much form, has Coco Gauff, since that astonishing French Open win against Aryna Sabalenka, and yeah, out early at Wimbledon. I saw that she beat Danielle Collins in the last round, but she had something like 23 double faults. So clearly the serve is still a bit iffy, shall we say. So that's the only singles match. Davidovich Fekina actually beat Corentin Moutet. I thought Moutet was starting to come into a bit of form. I do like watching the Frenchman play. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. And Nuno Borges has just won a game to love, 2-1. Does it with a lovely, eloquent, sliced forehand that must have just caught the line. Arthur Fils beating Carreno Busta today. Tsitsipas out against Chris O'Connell. Of course, Stefanos Tsitsipas back with Dad again after saying bye-bye to Goran Ivanisevic, who has been in the news because him and Patrick Mouratoglou are having a bit of a, probably not a set to is the wrong word, but back and forth. After I think Mouratoglou was slamming him for speaking bad about his player, and I think Goran hit back and said, "Well, you should say this to my face rather than go on a podcast or on social media." No, I haven't. I have just been manic busy with work, doing a lot of freelance work. So, and I've been on holiday, and yeah, so it's been a bit busy with the family, just working like a dog. There's my American accent back. So what else? Alex de Minaur, of course, winning in Washington last week. Taylor Fritz beating Cabeas Buena, and Fabian Marchand beating FAA, Felix Auger-Aliassime, 6-4, 6-4. Felix Auger-Aliassime, what could have been, so much, so hyped, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it's just never going to happen, is it? Just never going to happen. Too nice? Is he too nice? Just like Casper Ruud, as Zach had suggested. I was going to come back to him on that one, but we got talking about Casper Ruud coming back into this one because he was a breakdown early. But can you be too nice a tennis player? Do you need a little bit of beep housery, shall we say, in you? Do you need to be a little bit of a menace, a little bit of a pest? It's different in contact sports like football, American football, rugby. You need that grit, you need that nasty streak in a couple of your players just to stand up and fight. But is it as relevant in tennis? Let me know. Sport and politics. Can you be too nice to be a successful tennis player? But hello to you, sport and politics. But yeah, that's the question I'm posing. Can you be? Zach made the point earlier that Casper Ruud is maybe too nice a tennis player, similar to Felix Auger-Aliassime, and yeah. US Open predictions. Okay, I mean, yeah, quite clearly the three. I think Novak will probably get a fairly comfortable draw, although he's going to be seeded 6 or 7, but he usually gets a decent draw, doesn't he? So, yeah, I think you're going to see Carlos and Yannick in the final again. I think Ben Shelton reaches the semis. I think Ben Shelton's going to win this. I'm going to tip him for this event in Canada. So keep an eye out for Ben Shelton and Taylor Fritz as well. I think the Americans are starting to, they're going to be on home turf. They're going to be backed by the New York, the volatile New York crowd. Yeah, I'll go for the two Europeans, and similar to last year, we'll have 2 Americans sharing the other semi-final spots. How about that for a bold prediction? I'm going to say Ben Shelton's one of them, plus another American. Likely be Taylor Fritz, but could be any of the others. I don't see. I think they two are just too far ahead. I don't see many making many inroads. A lot of former big players are starting to fade a little bit. Tsitsipas, Medvedev. Maybe their time has come and been. Anyway, Casper Ruud game point to level up again at 2-all. Yeah, so you think you can be too nice? I made the point, in a contact sport, yes, it makes a difference. It means something. Was Rafa too nice? I mean, I know Rafa had a bit of the devil in him, I suppose. He was fierce. He was a fighter. He very vocal when he won big points and wasn't shy to his opponent. He does that warm up, doesn't he? He does that in the tunnel beforehand. He's right in their face. Gamesmanship a little bit, but you would say that everybody thinks that Rafa's a nice guy. Could you say that Roger Federer was too nice? Was there a bit of bedevilment in Roger, a bit of anger? Roger Federer just comes across as this charismatic, laid-back statement, like, he could be a politician, could Roger Federer. So, was he too nice? I get it. I know what you mean. Sport and politics, playing his idol at the French Open. So much kind of mythology and folklore about that match, particularly for Casper Ruud. Just, deer in the headlights stuff. Anyway, the deer has levelled up the second set. An hour and 16 minutes in. And we're at 2-all. Yeah, that's what I said. The tunnel before going out. Yeah, and Casper just doesn't know what to do, and Rafa's right in his face. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Rafa was probably world known as a nice guy, but on that's all part of the matchup. He's intimidating his opponent there. Now, Casper looks like a lost wee boy, doesn't he? So Yeah, he looked like I say, he looked like it was boy against man, wasn't it? Nuno Borges takes the first point, game 5, second set. Can he get this second set and take us into a decider? John's asking, if you could visit any tournament around the world, which one would it be? I mean, I've got a hit list. I am working towards that, like in 2026. I hope to be full-time. Well, I am full-time freelance reporter at the moment. I've got a couple other income strands. So I am going a roundabout way to answer this question, but it needs to be done. My point is, in 2026, I'm hoping to I'm definitely going to try and start looking at getting out to an event, trying to work it as media, and I do have my hit list. I never thought of Montpellier, and in February, I think it is, until James at Talking Tennis suggested that one. Says it's a great wee tournament. I've always fancied Rotterdam. Australia, I'd love to do Australia one time. I think it'd be a lot of work, a lot of travel. You'd have to have a lot of dollar bills. But it's the happy slam for a reason, isn't it? There's Rotterdam. I'm not too fussed about Miami. Never really been. Would love to do Indian Wells. Love to go to the Estoril Open, John. If that's still floating about in some form, I think it's a challenger now, is it? Maybe it's a 250. No, I think it was a 250 or it was a 500. You can correct me. There's that. Madrid has always been, for some reason, Madrid has always been the Madrid has always been for some reason in my tennis journey in terms of journalism. I did my first writing for a website or with Berrettini versus Zverev, the final of the Madrid Open, I think in 2021. I did my first Talking Tennis stream at the Madrid Open 2022. So I wouldn't mind going to that, just as it's got some sort of relevance to my journey, I think. So I'm going through the year. Barcelona, Monte Carlo, round about that swing. Not fussed about Rome. I don't know why. I think everyone tells me that Rome would be a great event. It's a quality event to go to, but for some reason, I'm not a big. I think it's the amount of people in Rome that puts me off. Everyone tells me it's just stacked full, and I hate busy places. Right, where are we next? We're coming on. The London grass court tournament's not fussed. Wimbledon, yeah, take it or leave it. Love to go to New York for the US Open. Washington, quite fancy that. Atlanta when it was around. Quite like the look of that. What was it, the Dallas Open or something? What was the one that looked like it were indoor in a shed, and that Tommy Paul and Marcus Giron seemed to always win it. That one looked like they looked like they were playing in Dallas. It looked like they were playing an indoor carpet, my mom's carpet, in the back of a shed. Anyway, 3-2. Trying to think what else there was. I'm thinking about maybe trying Paris Bercy this year. Why not? It's a good time of year for me in terms of work. It's just across the water. Love Paris. Was in Paris last October. I was thinking to myself, I love the vibe of this city. I'm going to come and work this. So yeah, I know I've not answered the question. So I'm just going to say Monte Carlo because it's Monte Carlo. That would be first on the hit list. For the clay, for the indoor, Paris Bercy. For the grass, I'll just throw in Wimbledon, but I'm not that fussed. And what way we do? For the hard court, we'll go Washington, because I've been to Washington. Georgetown is the best place in the world. It's so cool and funky. And so I'll go Washington. So John, you want to get me a credit for those four? I'm your man. Anyway, so Marcus, how we doing, Marcus? Pretty extreme views there, Marcus. Novak winning a tournament due to bribes of players or the Serb mafia. Fair play to you, Marcus. Fair play to you. Bold, shall I say. I'd love to see you working on that one, but yeah. Casper, I like Casper. He does get a lot of hate. I was saying it in the stream earlier on, and Casper gets undue hate for whatever reason, where he was going through that little plum spot, those 18 months where, he was reaching Grand Slam finals and he was just getting it in the neck. Like, it was almost like he was being too successful for some people. Like, how dare you be so successful? You're not good enough to be in a Grand Slam final. If he hadn't managed to achieve success, geez, like, what would these people be saying? So he was getting in the neck for being successful. And I always felt sorry for Casper. I don't think he's a quality player. I think he turns up more times than not. I know he takes the grass season off. But, he's one of these players who's worked hard to get to the top of the sport and probably not naturally gifted as maybe the all-time legends. So he's had to grind and work and make a living from this sport. He doesn't come from the most, funded backed country. Norway, it's cold up Norway. 24-hour sunlight right now in Norway. Bodo Glimt is their team that have been doing quite well recently. So anyway, I'm rambling a little bit. So I'll talk to you a bit through the tennis. I know there's not tons of us on here. But I'll talk to us, Marcus. Where would you like? What event would you like to go that's not in Serbia? So I don't think you're allowed to go there anymore, pal. Casper Ruud. So he's 30-15, looking to level up. Nuno Borges did hold serve, so we're 3-2. Plenty of tennis still to come if you're planning an all-nighter or an all-dayer if you're stateside. We still have, I think, Leonard Tien and Riley Opelka. Mentioned earlier on, quite an exciting match. I think Zach is certainly going to be watching that one. So yeah. Get on that one. Again, I talked about players who excite me. Riley Opelka matches don't really excite me. I'd probably not be watching that. It's going to be after this one, and it's going to be Betty Buys for Tom soon. So not for me. And then you've got Alexander Muller, Holger Rune. Nobody has spoke about him, but he is the 5th seed with Massetti going out. He's surely got to be one of the favourites now. You just never know with Holger, of course. Won one of these before, Paris-Bercy, a few years ago now. Beat Novak in the final. It hasn't lived up to the hype, probably. And I think Holger Rune, I think this is his time to make a mark. Ben Shelton and Holger Rune, I think they're in the same half of the draw, mind you. But I fancy one of the two of them. And I'm somebody who always backs Holger. I think, where did he get to the final, John? And I was saying that about 3 or 4 rounds out, Holger's going to win this. And then he was beaten in the final, by Jack Draper. Was he beaten by Draper? He was beaten by Jack Draper at Indian Wells. It was Indian Wells. Where did I pull that one from? Yes, I'd said that Holger Rune was going to win Indian Wells from about second round, and then he got to the final, and Jack Draper absolutely wiped the floor with him. So, yeah. Again, Jack Draper missing out here. I did, John. I did. Jack Draper, another one who's decided not to turn up here in Canada. Borges, Casper Ruud serving again at game point. Players are rallying. Backhand by Nuno Borges goes cross court. Casper Ruud has to scramble to not get to it, and he's looking up at his box. Casper questioning what else he can do. I think Nuno's tactic is just to move him about a little bit, and Casper, for a lot of this match, is doing the work with his legs, running from side to side. And over the longer term, that could prove a deciding factor. But Nuno Borges needs to take one of these break points for that juice. Casper Ruud, good serve down the tee. Block return by Nuno Borges, but we're now into a rally, and Casper Ruud goes with the forehand. He's coming into the net. Casper goes with the volley. Try. It's an attempted pass by Nuno Borges, and it wasn't a bad attempt. Down the line, backhand on the run, but Casper Ruud, read it, put the volley away, and fist bumps to his box, who he was just moaning to. Thanks, John. 10 p.m. coming up for UK time. We are an hour and a half into this one, and Casper Ruud has just levelled up at 3-all in the second set. Okay, we might have a special guest if this goes to a third set. Okay, players have had a wee. Well, I was just talking about that. There we go. About an hour late, but thanks very much, producer. Alex de Minaur, great sportsmanship there, and right, that's where we're going with that. Alex de Minaur, great sportsmanship. And sorry, getting a wee text there. Going camping tomorrow, guys. Camping in the west of Scotland. So I'm going camping till Sunday. So fingers crossed it doesn't rain. I could go some of that North Carolina heat. And it's about 20 degrees here. So going camping tomorrow. And that's a pal just saying that he's found a place where we can pick up some supplies en route. So Casper Ruud, love 30 on the Nuno Borges serve. We could have a bit of a breakthrough in this. It's been a bit of a stalemate so far. That looked long by Nuno Borges, no call there. So Casper Ruud goes for a slice backhand. Nuno Borges has to scramble to walk around the thing to get his forehand on it. Casper Ruud now on the attack. He's in control of this rally. Casper Ruud comes into the net and puts away the volley. He has 3 break points. He's eyeing up. That's in straight sets. God, I kind of need to take my teeth out. Casper Ruud, so 3 break points. We did mention, Zach and I, that this would be a very much an uphill battle should Casper claim the first set. He did so 7-5. Marcus doing his stand-up. I like it, mate. Thank you very much for that. Bit of comic relief in the tension of this 7th game of the second set. Nuno Borges goes into the net with his first serve. Hi, watching Gary. Pretty tame. Yeah. Oh, no, it dropped. It dropped. I thought that was well long by Nuno Borges, but it's dropped and caught the line. So the players are rallying. I thought Casper had the break. Casper goes with the backhand. It just makes it over the net. Nuno Borges picks it up with the forehand. He's on the run. Nuno Borges goes into the net, and Casper Ruud has broken serve. We're 4-3 in the second set. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like that, Marcus. Very philosophical. Hi, Jane. How you watching, Gary? Hi, Marcus. Good to have you guys with us. If you haven't already, I'm sure you guys have, but if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button on the YouTube. We're aiming for 20,000 subscribers before the US Open, which would be magical. Yeah, Casper Ruud, he's got his sights now on a straight set win. He'll like to get up the road as quickly as possible and recharge. This one is for Karl Hatchinoff, so that will be certainly a tougher matchup for Casper. Of course, he did beat him in that famous semi-final in 2022, where Casper then went on to beat, Carlos Alcaraz, and then they were playing, remember, for the world #1 spot and their first Grand Slam title. And Carlos Alcaraz hasn't really looking back since his first Grand Slam final. He won it, and that run is only coming to an end. There at Wimbledon, the last time it was 5 Grand Slam finals, 5 wins, and then on the 6th attempt, Carlos lost out for the first time, and it was pretty one-sided, wasn't it, that Wimbledon final? Okay, Casper, serving at 4-3. We just joked about it earlier on. A break's only good if you can hold. And Casper Ruud wins game point. Good serve down the tee that block return can only find the net from Nuno Borges. Casper Ruud. You'd think if we can cold serve here, there's a good chance he could break again and just wrap this up as 6-3. Hey, so anyway, guys, who was here on the stream earlier on when I attempted the American accent? Was it any good? Let me know. If you didn't see it, I'm not doing it again. Too embarrassed. And I'm getting hangry. Super funny wasn't what I was going for, producer. I was going for the authentic. Yes, he did. Zach attempted the Scottish one. And I told him he sounded like Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler doesn't really have a Scottish accent anymore. Nuno Borges comes into the net. And it's 30-15. That was his chance. You would think they're 15-30, a bit of pressure on the Norwegian. But no. Nuno Borges, again, he's going through that phase of his tennis match. We spoke about it earlier on. He goes through phases where he looks like he can't be bothered, and then he goes through phases where he can't miss. He's going through that former now. He's looking a bit dejected. Oh, served an ace there, Casper Ruud. That must be one of the first of the matches. Oh, no, he's done 7. There you go. Shows how much I've not been talking nonsense. Very good point, Marcus. I don't disagree with you in any way. I'm a big Carlos fan. I love his razzmatazz. But like you say, Yannick Sinner's a bit like Ivan Drago in Rocky 4. Just a machine. Game point, Casper Ruud, and the forehand is coming out now. He's enjoying his tennis right now, and he's 5-3 up. He's a game away from wrapping this match up. The match predictor time for Lennarty and Riley Opelka has went down to 10-15. That shows that tennis watchers think this one is pretty much done and dusted. Okay, does Nuno Borges have anything left? The number 30 seed serving to stay in the match. Block return from Casper. Block forehand return by Casper. Backhand. Then again, Borges is dictating this rally. Casper Ruud goes long. Tried a big shot there. A big forehand cross court. Never got hold of it properly. And, he was miles long there. Checking his strings. Casper Ruud. Oh no, it's dropped. I need to get my eyes checked. But that one's long, and it's 15-0. Casper Ruud 3 points away. Good serving by Nuno Borges. Down the tee there. Non-returned. Sorry if you all watch my my yawn there. Getting late. Oh, Casper, wild backhand, 40-15. Nuno Borges, he'll get at least one more sit down before the match maybe wraps up. Borges come back into the net again, and it's an easy volley to put away that game. We're at 4-5. Casper Ruud will serve for the match. He's making him play it. He's making him earn it. So anyway, from the guys who are in here, thank you very much for joining us over the last. It's been consistently the same number since I came on the stream about 2 hours ago, an hour and a half ago. So thank you for that. And I mean, I'm saying this, we could still be going 3 here. We could still be going 3 here. But what I was going to say, any other predictions or any other matches that we should be looking out for over the next couple of days? Who do you think is going to win this here in Toronto? Who do you think is going to win in Montreal? How's Coco Gauff getting on? I know she was a breakdown in the second set after losing the first set. Arthur Feast and Ben Shelton have won their doubles match just in the last few seconds. Decent pairing that, isn't it? What's your thoughts on the US Open mixed doubles? Causing a bit of a stir. What's your thoughts on the US Open's matchmaker, game set and matchmaker? What is that about? It's about some girl. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. It's some girl, and she's going about the US Open in Flushing Meadows, and she's looking for. She's called like the champion. She's a bachelorette. Why can't I say that word? Bachelorette. Woo, said it. And she has to get like 7 matches. Like a run to the Grand Slam. No, I've only seen bits and bobs of it on Twitter earlier on. And as far as I'm aware, the US Open organisers aren't coming out well amongst tennis fans for this one. Anyway, is anyone, if Borges breaks, Gary's going to subscribe. Yeah, I saw that the criticism. What is this game? I mean, are people going to watch it? Are the people who criticise? Are they the people who will probably give it a watch just to see? It's like a car crash when you drive past it. You can't help but look. Anyway, I'll talk us through this game. We're thinking Borges is going to break here, and it is love 15. Borges isn't done fighting yet. He is a fighter, this guy. I know he sometimes can't. He looks like he's a bit, nonplussed, not invested in whether he wins or loses, but that's not true, I'm sure. Anyway, Casper Ruud played so well in the last service game. But Nuno Borges is hitting the ball well. That's a great backhand up the line, and he can't follow up. He cannot follow it up. He had the court to choose from anywhere he wanted. He was up at the net. He was at the perfect attack zone, and he puts a meek backhand into the net. And these are the shots that make you number 48 in the world, unfortunately. They separate you from the guys who are consistently in the top 32. Good serve out wide, and it's only found block return into the net. It's little moments like that. Nuno Borges, he knows he's going to be sitting there beating himself up and going, these are the type of shots that gets your racket slammed and then gets you a bit of a tailing off from the umpire. Anyway, good serving by Casper. He's got 2 match points. He just served one right into the corner of the service box. Can't be returned in any way, shape, or form by Nuno Borges. And it's 40-15, 2 match points. And he wins it with an ace. Casper Ruud is through to a meeting with Karen Hatchinoff after a straight sets victory against Nuno Borges. Well done, Casper. Well done, Nuno. But yeah, Casper Ruud showing a bit of form here. Well played to the Norwegian. Anything else for anything else? Or will we just say au revoir and not be sad that it's over, but be glad that it happened? Who will win the tournament? Oh, Casper or Karen Hatchinoff? Okay, I'm going to go Karen Hatchinoff. I think, he comes alive this time of the year. He's such a consistent fighter and performer and battler. Yeah, I know he's dipped a little bit recently, but I just think he's Mr. Consistent. Casper, we just came up against a Nuno Borges today that wasn't firing. So I'm going to go Karen in 3. There we go. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope we will do it again very soon. Might catch up with you in Cincinnati. I'll certainly jump on for one of the US Open streams. But we've only got, 3 weeks left. But yeah, it's been a good one. I'll catch you later, guys. Night-night.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.